Hi there, I'm Dr. Tracy. I'm a psychologist and couples therapist, and for the past almost 2 decades, I've been working with individuals and couples, helping them to improve their relationships, build healthy communication skills, and to set boundaries with people in their life, including their in-laws. It is my hope that my videos and my channel here will help you to build those healthy communication skills and learn the tools that I teach the people in my office every single day. Let's move into today's video. I think one of the saddest things in our romantic relationships is that we stop giving our partners permission. Here's what I mean. In the early days of your relationship, you had more compassion, empathy, and understanding with your partner. In the honeymoon stage, you said yes easily. You understood if they were a few minutes late. If they forgot something, you said no problem, and you moved forward from it. We spoke to them with curiosity and kindness and a genuine interest in their life. And now, as the relationship progresses, so many people lose that sense of connection, that sense of gentleness, that sense of giving grace to the other person to sometimes be a messy human. I'm not talking about accepting manipulation or gaslighting or abusive and emotionally neglectful behaviors. Instead, I'm talking about how is it that we as humans sometimes show up a little messy, make mistakes, and how can we use those mistakes to grow and connect and move forward? I think one of the saddest things in our romantic relationships is that we stop doing this. We stop giving our partner the same permission, compassion, and empathy that we once gave them in the early days of our partnership. This often showed up in the honeymoon stage where you have curiosity and compassion, and you're really trying to understand the other person's experience. When they have to cancel something, you understand and make plans for the next time. When they're 5 minutes late, you say, thank you for letting me know. When they make a mistake, you work through it in the effort of the relationship. But now, over time, with the longevity of a relationship, we start treating each other in the worst possible ways. We up the ante, we stop listening, we get critical, we defend our position instead of trying to be understanding for the other person. We lose one of the most simplest things that we can do in our partnerships that are going to keep us feeling connected and close. I'm going to share an example that showed up in my own marriage recently, and it wasn't my best moment. It had been one of those days where I didn't get enough sleep, the kids were having a tough go, and everything in my business seemed to be calling for my attention. By the time I got home at the end of the day, I was frazzled. I started to help out with dinner and I opened the second drawer. For those of you who know me, you know that I am a control appreciator. That is my personality. That is part of who I am. And in the kitchen, everything seems to have a place. And so opening up the second drawer, I was looking for a spatula, and we all know what those second drawers look like. Spatulas, whisks, ladles, they're all in there. But when I opened the drawer that day, the pizza cutter did not have its protective guard on it. I almost cut my finger. Almost, not quite. Now, I am someone who will put the guard on it. That is just something that I do. And this is a day where my husband happened to not put the guard on it. He's standing beside me in the kitchen, and I look beside him and I say, and I know I had tension in my body. I know I was frustrated from the day. And I said, could you just finish the task? Why can't you just put the cutter guard back on so that nobody gets hurt? Not my best moment. And I confess I've been a human a lot longer than I've been a therapist. And here's also what I know is that healthy couples know how to repair faster. It's not that we don't have messy moments. It's that these moments move us forward and we know how to work through them. But my husband did something that was so important that day that stopped us from spiraling more into our negative communication pattern. You know that I talk about the negative communication pattern being that thing where people are saying, I keep having the same fight over and over again. And I tell people, it's not about the dishes. We're trying to problem solve the dishes, the in-laws, the sex, the communication. We're trying to solve those problems. But yet at the bottom of this are unmet needs and longings. In that moment, he said to me, thank you. I can do that next time. And that all that he did in that moment was take responsibility and ownership for what happened. I was pointing it out. But in so many situations, what ends up happening is that people take these comments and they spiral into inadequacy and unworthiness. And why are you always attacking at me? Why can't you just tell me that I'm doing good things right now? But here's what he did differently that day. Instead of spiraling into our negative cycle and him one-upping me and telling me the thing that I didn't do that day as well, he gave me permission. He let me be messy. He understands and holds in mind who I am. He understands that there are times that I get frustrated, like we all do, and he doesn't take it personally. He practices the art of depersonalization, and by holding that out and not making it about himself, in that moment, he can then say to me, I got this, thank you. I think our relationships are made up of something so fundamental that we fail to do, and that is holding the other person in mind, holding who they are. We know in general that this person we've chosen to spend our life with is a kind person, is a person who works through things, is all of these things. And if we're not looking at that, then I think we're having a different conversation. But in general, most people are saying, yes, this is the person that I am with. But in the small micro moments, we lose the ability to have compassion and empathy and curiosity towards the other person. Now, this doesn't mean that I was right and he was wrong. It doesn't mean that he was right and I was wrong. It certainly means that I went back later and said to him, hey, I was harsh earlier. Thanks for understanding that with me. And I remember I went back and said, I really appreciate that you just gave me permission to be messy in that moment. And that's our repair. That's us moving forward. I owned my stuff and he also showed up in that moment. And so a healthy relationship isn't about doing these grand gestures or making these big things in our relationship. It's the micro moments that exist every single day. And every single moment, every single interaction with your partner is about asking yourself, am I going to show up with kindness here? Am I going to hold them in my mind and think of who they are and who I know them to be? Or am I going to go into my self-protective mode? I'm going to armor up and I'm going to bring in all of our old stuff and move forward in that way, which doesn't resolve any of us forward. So whether you're the person who got angry like I did, or you're on the other end of that, moment to moment in our partnerships, we constantly have the question to answer, which is, how am I going to respond? Because I don't get to control what the other person does, but I always get to control what I do in this moment. All right, let me know if you've had your pizza cutter moment in your relationship. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.